Howdy folks, let's work on one of the most important muscles in our lower leg that's going to help us not only with our sport performance, but it's very important to have good tissue quality here in your soleus muscle in order to squat better. Squats are so important to help strengthen our legs, our back, and our core for our daily activities. They're also one of the most important movements for sport performance in order to improve things like change of direction, vertical jump, and sprinting. So for the soleus muscle, let's point it out first. So the calf comprises of two main muscles. This upper part is your gastroc. And really here you have your inner and your outer gastroc. Underneath, where we would think our Achilles tendon is going to lie a muscle called the soleus. This muscle is really, really important for how much we can move our ankle back and forth, and especially with things like squatting, where we need this foot to stay stable and our knee to travel forward. If we have limitations back here, like I do, we're not going to have as much what's called ankle dorsiflexion in order to get into a safe, deep position with our knee and our ankle taking equal parts of the force. So for this exercise, I've found that our friendly lacrosse ball is not the best tool to use. Instead, I have two options here that I'm going to show you just to keep the video list down a little bit. We have what I've lovingly referred to in the past as the Death Star. It's your mobility wad supernova, which is about a softball-sized piece of plastic with a bunch of gnarly ridges on it. If you have this, or if you have a softball, that works great. Let's start off with that, and let me show you how I would get into the soleus using this. So I'm going to use my right side as the example just because that's closer to the camera. First thing I want to do is identify that soleus. Some people have longer gastroc muscles. Some people have shorter gastroc muscles. Pretty much once that little muscle tapers down and you really just kind of see the bottom part of your leg, that's where your soleus lives. I like to start at the top, so I will get that Death Star right underneath the gastroc, right at the top of the soleus. And I can prop my leg up and notice I'm kind of leaning my body weight into that foot. What's really fun is I can move my foot back and forth. Notice it's kind of hard for me to move my foot because that muscle is a little tight. Or if I'm feeling super adventurous, I can cross my other leg on top. That's applying quite a bit of pressure. And notice how it's even harder to move this back and forth. Now, the other way to work on this soleus muscle, let's say I've got a foam roller, that is another great tool to use. So I love this foam roller because it's got the little ridges on it, but if yours is perfectly flat, nothing wrong there either. So we're just gonna get that foam roller stuck under that soleus muscle just like we had the ball. With this one, I sometimes feel like I can't get enough pressure unless I lift my butt off the ground and kind of lean into it a little bit more. Now, we're not gonna roll up and down. I'm just making slight movements until I find that perfect tender spot, and then I can lift that foot up and down, up and down. Now, this can be a longer or shorter muscle depending on your anatomy, so it's important to maybe roll that foam roller down a little bit. I might have to prop myself up a little higher here and dig into that muscle. Now, if my glutes are off the ground, that's going to be very difficult to get that other leg on top. So play around with it and see what setup gives you the best release on this muscle. Again, gets you that intense but tolerable amount of pressure. 30 to 60 seconds in a couple of spots, and we are well on our way to improving that ankle dorsiflexion, which is super key to keep us healthy for our daily life activities, help us improve our performance in the weight room, and ultimately improve our performance out, whether that's the golf course, the pickleball court, tennis court, running, change direction sports like football and soccer, basketball, soleus, super important muscle. Enjoy.